Hello everyone, welcome to YouTube Developers Live Take 2 for today. My name is Jarek Wilkiewicz and I have an exciting show for you today. We have guests from Pixability. Andreas, how are you doing?
Very well.
And
Thanks.
Bettina, how
Thank
are you
you for
Bettina,
having
today?
us.
Great. In the studio we have Jeremy Walker.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Long time no see, Jeremy.
I know you've been in Mexico.
Yes, I was down in Mexico. We can chat a little bit about it later. And then Jeff is not joining us tonight because we had to rewire our studio. And in the process of rewiring, we lost Jeff. All right, but hopefully we'll try to manage without him. So first of all, thank you very much for coming. Very excited to have you in the studio. I know you have a very busy schedule coming from Boston, right?
Yes.
To Silicon Valley. How long are you staying?
We're actually going back tomorrow morning. We came in on Sunday.
Okay,
so.
great. So we're going to try to squeeze the maximum amount of value out of your short trip here. So we wanted to talk to you about your company, but maybe first, Bettina, I know you've been an entrepreneur for quite some time. So I wanted to learn a little bit more about, how did you get into that and what did you do before Pixability, and then we will transition and talk a little bit more about your current project.
Sure. Well, I like to brag that I've never had a real job. So I started my first tech company right out of graduate school. Actually, I started it in Zurich, Switzerland, a spin-off of the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology. And it was a bunch of engineers and we started a speech technology company called SVOX.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have an Android phone or use Google Translate, you will have text-to-speech software from SVOX in there. And so it's the technology today is in the hands of over 500 million people, and it's in the GPS systems of most cars. And we raised some money for that from investors, from angels and VCs, about 8 million. And we then sold it to Nuance Communications from Burlington, Massachusetts for $125 million.
That's pretty amazing. So 10x plus return, which is I know all the VCs are looking for.
Yeah.
Can the text-to-speech software do Polish accent by any chance?
Absolutely, it can. Yes.
All
yes.
right.
I think
now
it's
I need to try
available
it.
in 32 languages. I think so far. So.
Oh
yeah.
wow, great.
Yeah.
So now you're working on Pixability. So what brought you into this world of video?
Well, I was a Sloan Fellow at MIT after I'd done SVOX, and that was actually the time when YouTube was getting acquired by Google, and I was studying technological disruption.
Mm-hmm.
And what I saw was this drop of orders of magnitude in the input factors into video. So the cost of cameras, the cost of editing software, bandwidth, all of that was dropping majorly. And I knew from studying previous technological disruptions that was an opportunity to create a big business. And I also saw that there was a chance for democratization, actually, something that has been, TV is an oligopolistic game networks, cable TV stations, but here small content creators, small businesses all had an equal chance to succeed. And so I decided to found Pixability on that premise.
That sounds very exciting. It's also interesting that you went from, voice and audio to video. So I wonder what's coming next, like ESP, extra sensory perception, perhaps. But before we get there, I also curious, and I'm sure you get that question a lot. So pardon the repetition. But as a woman running the company, do you think, is it easier? Is it harder for you? Do you have to answer this question a lot of times? We don't have a lot of female guests on the show. I think our entrepreneur guest speakers are kind of male-dominated group. So can you speak a little bit about that, your experience, to all the women that might be watching us right now?
Yeah, well, it's almost like if I would ask Jeremy here, I see you're wearing glasses. What is it like as a myopic entrepreneur? No, in all honesty, it's I get asked that question a lot, and I wish that weren't a pertinent question, but it is. It goes both ways. It's actually a big advantage in some ways. If a magazine wants to cover a hot new startup and they have, all things being equal, a male entrepreneur and a female entrepreneur, guess what? I get chosen. So that's the cool thing about it. The downside is that, I have to relate to people that have a different interest set than I oftentimes in terms of, or a different background.
I get that a lot with football.
Yeah, especially with investors, they often see, I just don't fit the mold exactly, so it's maybe not as comfortable, and a lot about business and investing is about pattern recognition, and I don't fit that pattern, but I roll with the punches, and I like to just take that as a challenge.
Great, and so now I think this is a great prelude about to Pixability. So tell us a little bit more about the problem you're trying to solve and how you're approaching it.
Sure. So Pixability helps companies and content creators make the most of their YouTube channel, find their audience, optimize their content, optimize ads, and do that all on the YouTube platform. So we are, if you've heard of a company that's called Buddy Media, they do everything for Facebook. We do everything for YouTube.
Great. So the target audience is content creators that really want to amplify their presence on YouTube, get more subscribers, get more views, or who's the customer?
Actually, it's content creators, so publishers of content, as well as corporate marketers, because that is actually coming together. We see that more and more. If you look at Red Bull Stratus, right? Companies are becoming content creators, and content creators are businesses. So we serve both of those.
Great. So maybe before we get into more details, can we see a demo?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's try that.
Right. So first of all, our product really has two main parts to it. So there's one part that is really optimized to help businesses, content creators manage their YouTube channel. And there's a second part that is really optimized to what we call to do audience insight. And that means basically that we help businesses and content creators understand what is going on YouTube. So basically to answer the question, what kind of content should I produce, who are my competitors, what is the really popular type of video in my field, and so on. And that's really kind of a combination that seems to work extremely well. So what we see here, to start a quick demo, is basically the dashboard for people who manage their YouTube channel. So we created a UI that is really designed to be optimal for business users, and they have slightly different needs from what you have as a person, as an individual using YouTube, or even as a content provider. A lot of marketing-oriented users, for instance, don't full-time manage a YouTube channel. It's just one part of their job, so they need a lot of efficiency. Very often you find teams who manage the channel at the same time. So one person might only upload videos, another person might do all the SEO work, and the third person approves everything and publishes it. So this is really designed as a kind of a multi-user environment. When you log in, the first thing you see is a dashboard, and this shows you some high-level metrics like how your viewers are currently developing, what your traffic sources are, where you get your traffic, what social engagement numbers are, and so on. And you also see, and that's important for business users and content creators alike, professionals, you see what your competitors are up to. So we have this online video grader score. It's basically a score between 0 and 100 points that you can get, and it really measures how successful your YouTube channel is performing, how many viewers you get, how many social sharing activities you are triggering, how you are using videos on your website, and so on. And so you can configure what your competitors are and keep an eye on them. You get alerts when they publish successful videos and so on. So it's really an easy way to get on top of things. Then when you dig a little bit more in depth, so I'm logged in here as one of our customers, dailygrommets.com, which is an e-commerce website that introduces a new interesting product every day. They produce one video per day, so a lot of high volume production there, and they manage their channel through our software. And here you basically see the list of videos that you have, so that's very similar to the video manager in YouTube itself. But the difference is you have some workflow functionality here. So for instance, this progress bar shows you at all times how far advanced you are in treating this video optimally for business purposes, for reaching out to people. So when I click in here in one example video, I see that I'm currently done with uploading my video, but I still have some work to do with SEO, so it gives me a warning here saying that I need to work on my description text, for instance. So we baked in a lot of best practices from our experience, from our customers' experience, about what makes a video on YouTube really successful for SEO purposes and for discovery, just to get found by people.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. So all these scores are actually actionable, right?
Yes.
The marketer or content creator strives to achieve 100%.
Yep, exactly.
And then, but you give them suggestions about things that they should do to really improve the metrics that you're tracking.
That's exactly right. So as you type here in the description field, for instance, the score goes up, so up to 100%. So you always know where you stand and what you have to do next.
Okay.
Because we have a lot of...
So let me get that straight. So typing in some random gibberish increases my score to 100%?
No, that was just a minor change. No, it actually looks at how many different keywords you're using in your space. So it is really based on what you need to do to get found online. And we also have kind of a feedback loop. So for instance, you can at any time see how you are measuring up on YouTube search against your tags, for instance. So in this case here, this is a video about a particularly compact umbrella, and we see that we are currently ranking at number 7 for the keyword portable umbrella and number 3 for travel umbrella. So that's pretty good. And you get a lot of this SEO feedback all the time, so that you know if people are actually able to find you.
Great,
for long tail searches. Also part of this is, of course, analytics. We basically tap into YouTube analytics and add some value on top of that, especially in making the whole thing easier to understand for business users. So we're not just giving you the raw numbers, but we also tell you what the next 3 things are that you should be doing. So in this case here, this channel here increased traffic from embedded players by a lot, so that's great. But you also have to do some work here in SEO and link building campaigns on external sites, so people know immediately what the next step should be.
What's a link building campaign?
Well, basically, we are seeing that a lot of success from for YouTube videos really comes from links from external sites to your video pages, to your channel page, and reaching out to bloggers, for instance, to link to your channel directly is something that really helps your video SEO tremendously.
Is subscriber count something that you're also tracking as a metric?
Absolutely, we're looking at that as well. The reality of that is, frankly, that for more marketing-oriented users, subscribers tend to be a bit less important. So it's mostly important for producers of original content, and that's definitely an important metric as well.
Right.
So this is really fascinating. Can you tell us a little bit about the actual implementation you did with the YouTube APIs and whatever you're comfortable with, and maybe even the language you used?
Sure. I would say we are probably using almost every part of the YouTube API. We are using definitely the data API, allow people to upload videos, to modify metadata and all that stuff. We also use the player API, so we have some functionality that lets people customize the YouTube player when they want to embed videos on their website, and that's something that a lot of people don't know that this even exists. And finally, we use the Insight API to pull down statistics information, so it's pretty broad, really. And our system is actually implemented in Python. Mostly we use MySQL and Redis for data storage, and we're currently hosted on Amazon EC2 in the cloud. But from the beginning, we really decided to be totally cloud agnostic, so we can actually move to a different cloud anytime. So definitely keeping an eye on Google's Compute Cloud and other possible solutions.
That's great to hear.
Have you looked at the new analytics API that we have recently launched?
Yeah, absolutely.
For those of you that are watching, we have recently removed the whitelist requirement from the new analytics API. So historically we had the Insight API, which is robust, but it requires you to unzip a file and then parse the CSV and so forth. I think the new analytics API is a little easier to use.
I think it's much better from that perspective, and it also helps us a lot for kind of the second part of our product, which is audience insight. And just to maybe have a quick look on that. So what people typically ask us when they contact us for the first time is, what kind of content should I really create to be successful on YouTube? Because that's not really clear. I mean, it's obviously, when you're a marketer, it's not a 30-second commercial. That probably will not fly on YouTube. If you're a traditional content creator, you probably have to change your style a little bit to what you normally do. And
is cat videos normally the answer?
Cat videos is
that the
great.
default in your code? Else cat videos.
Yes, if nothing works, use cats and babies. Always flies. That's great. No, I mean that's actually a question that a lot of people ask us. How do I make a viral video?
Sure.
And the reality is there's no proven concept. But you really have to understand what your industry is doing and what people really like in terms of content in your industry. So we created this product called the Video Radar that taps heavily into Insight APIs and the Search API and so on. And it assembles basically information from YouTube about keywords that you initially set to that define your industry. So in this case here, we just ran this analysis for a new customer of ours, Rockenbach, which is actually a very successful user of YouTube advertising, especially. Some amazing videos. They're a toy company. They make educational toys where you can build very complex models, and it's very sophisticated stuff. And they gave us a bunch of keywords here that we used to analyze their space on YouTube. And this first graph here shows you a visualization of what the most popular channels in this whole educational toy space are. So there's a company called Brooder Toys, which is one of their competitors. There's Toys R Us, of course. And there's Knex, another competitor, and a bunch of just channels run by individuals who happen to be very fascinated by these educational toys. So then from that on, you can basically drill down into a number of different metrics. You can figure out how many views in total there are on this space and how many relevant videos are out there. You can look at what the top 100 videos are in your space, who the most successful content producers are. And finally, you can actually drill down in full detail into each of these channels and figure out what they are doing well and what they are not doing so well. So here, the number 1 ranked channel, which is a competitor for our customer, has a lot of views. That's great, but they also have a relatively moderate sentiment. So about equal number of likes and dislikes, not a tremendous amount of Facebook activity and Twitter activity. So you can use this information to figure out what are these guys doing well, what are kind of success recipes that we should copy apart from cats and babies, and what should we avoid because it clearly doesn't seem to fly. And we're also using this information for ad targeting, for instance. So we actually provide our customers with a list of channels that they can use to promote their videos, and we also help them to find the right online communities for social engagement, for social sharing. So it's a very broad tool that helps people understand the entire space.
Cool. That's great. Just out of curiosity, did you run into anything that was counterintuitive using the YouTube APIs, or anything that kind of saw some issues with, or?
Specifically for the API, so first of all, YouTube's API is way more robust and mature than other APIs like Facebook's or Twitter's, or especially LinkedIn, which tends to never work at all. So it's a very robust API, but the surprise is that you really have to still build a bit of infrastructure around it. So a typical topic is quota issues. We are a very heavy user of the API, and occasionally we run into quota issues, and you have to put in a lot of functionality to really accommodate these issues and work around them. So you have to catch all these potential errors and so on in special cases. So this needs a little bit of infrastructure on the side of the API user, really.
Similar question to Bettina. When you were building the company, building the product, anything that really surprised you about your audience, or about the space, things that you felt like you could use the previous experience and it just didn't apply? Anything that you would be willing to share?
Well, so the commonality between the two companies is the heavy text analytics, right? Text-to-speech software is all about that. But here as well, I mean, we do a lot of analytics on the metadata surrounding all the videos that we tap into. And one of the things from a user perspective that I still find astounding is that this concept of and I'll use air quotes here, a viral video still exists in the heads of lots of people. We'll just create a video and we'll put it out there and it will go viral. that concept still exists. Maybe not for the people watching this webinar, but out there, people that are creating content don't really know a lot about the metadata optimization that you have to do, and also that you have to see a video as a member of the social network. One thing that Andreas didn't really talk about very much in the demo is our cross-platform analytics. So looking at what videos are being watched and commented on via Facebook, on Twitter, LinkedIn, and we aggregate all of that data. So the really advanced people in the space, they look at what a video is talking, that they look at what a video is doing in the social space. They don't rely solely on putting it up on YouTube and hoping that people will come. It's not a build it and we will come scenario. So you have to embed it, you have to work on link building, you have to share it out via different networks.
So I guess what folks expect is you just put together this interesting content, you put it out there, and it'll go viral. And the reality is not quite like that.
Yeah.
So you
and
really need to do some
another
extra work.
astounding thing is that oftentimes the content that people think they should be creating is diametric to what actually people are watching in the space.
I see.
That's why we developed the radar. I mean, we've helped very big companies and brands completely change the kind of content that they're creating, what they're putting in there, because they're seeing, this is getting zero, this will get 0 views. There are no people watching that associated with our brand or our content.
I mean, one great example is the length, the duration of videos. So most people still think that a YouTube video has to be a maximum of 2 minutes long, because people have such a short attention span and they will never watch it. And we can basically prove with our technology in almost every industry that that's absolutely not true.
Not true anymore.
People watch more and more long-form content on YouTube, up to 20 minutes long. And if you if you really have interesting content, if you have something to say, people will absolutely watch it.
Right. So we still have a little time left. Jeremy, we wanted to go through the Q&A part. I know we have a couple of questions to the moderator, so should we get to it? Before we get into that, I know you looked in the analytics API. Have you looked at the V3 version of the API as well?
Yes, absolutely. We have actually started to experiment with it.
Any initial feedback?
Yes, it's great, first of all. So I think it's great because it's very lean and efficient.
Yeah.
The old API used to be a bit heavy in some ways, I mean XML and so on, and now you have this very lean JSON framework, and you can really shape it in a way that it gives you exactly the data that you want, and that's really a great advantage, I think, especially for mobile developers. And I'm definitely looking forward to switching to this.
Have you tried the Python client library yet?
Yes, that's another great thing. I mean, the old library for GData was a bit,
Yeah, we're
old
stuck
already.
at version 1 of the API, so old school. I think this is all about to change.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
So that's great. It's great progress, really.
Great. Well, we have a couple questions. I'll start with the ones because there's quite a few for you guys. So one of our questions is from Paris, actually. Most of the examples I see in this video are related to business to consumer campaigns. What advice for business-to-business service delivery companies do you have? Like one size fits all? They just want a little more information on that.
We actually recently did a study of the top 100 brands in the world, how they are using YouTube, and among those are actually the winners of our study, so to speak, in number of views, number of videos that they published, are technology companies, and oftentimes they are B2B companies, and we see some really good examples. For example, Intel does really well with YouTube. Cisco does very well with YouTube, and what you can learn from those companies is actually that you have to treat you have to create content that is interesting for a broad mass of people, but then you have to segment it down. So Intel, for example, will have examples that are for particular chipset, and they just have a developer explaining the new developments around what they're doing, how functionalities work, how this works when you're integrating this into the boards that you're working on, and that doesn't have to be totally sexy. The same goes for lots of product videos. People really do a lot of research, and if you, most people know that YouTube search box is the second largest search engine in the world. So if you have a really technical product and something that people usually would want to see in action, that's what works for video very well. We had a milling company for do videos, and it was very interesting that they wanted, for example, they figured out that they had to absolutely put no music on their videos because people wanted to hear the shavings fall with the machine. So it really depends. It really depends on your vertical. And then another key is to always use the content that you have in email marketing. For B2B, that works really well. Integrate those videos in there. You'll get click-throughs. Put it, use it in trade shows. Use it in those B2B areas.
Great. Let's see. So we got another one here for you. What advice would you get for dealing with cultural differences when positioning video content? Do you have any recommendations that work best for different parts of the world? How's the approach affected?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's definitely different. YouTube's dominance is not as big in some areas of the world. So if you have a YouTube-only strategy in some countries, that may want to think about that. For example, I think in France, I think this question is from France. If you're doing movie trailers, I think they have Allociné, where people go if they're looking for movie trailers instead of YouTube. But apart from that, I think you have to be really in tune if you're doing a multinational strategy. You have to be in tune with pop culture and political developments in that culture if you're creating content for that. So let's say you're targeting Greece. A Greek viewer will know what Golden Dawn is, whereas a Chinese viewer might be very confused if you mention that. Another thing to be aware of is that passionate communities on YouTube are often very international. So looking into that, if you're optimizing your metadata, you're tagging your descriptions, think about using not just English, but also some other languages if you're targeting those international audiences. And a third thing is for content creators that aesthetic tastes vary often culturally. So if you, for example, in Latin America, stark lighting is very popular, and color schemes are very different than taste would be, for example, in Northern Europe.
Great. That's some great information. Let's see. So the other one we have is, of course, is Google developers hiring. Eric, you want to take that one?
Andreas was looking at me. I hope you're going to take the other one. Yes, we are hiring both YouTube developers and developer relations, as well as Google developer relations is hiring. To find out more, go to developers.google.com/jobs, where you can see all the job descriptions and the positions that we have open. And as far as the type of work we do, we hang out in the studio every Wednesday. But beyond that, and we were going to mention that, we have a bunch of speaking engagements. Jeremy was just speaking at Silicon Valley Code Camp. Mm-hmm. That was last week, right?
Yep.
I actually came back from Mexico, where we were hosting Latin America Google Developers Group Summit. So community leaders from a number of Latin American countries came together. We visited Telmex hub in Mexico, which is an incubator. And shared office space. So it's quite exciting. And then we have a number of events actually coming up where we'll be speaking. I think DevFest West is coming up this weekend,
yeah,
right?
I'll be speaking there.
Yeah, and then if anybody's actually watching from Korea, we're looking to participate in an event there mid-November. So again, if you would like to join us, please go to developers.google.com/jobs and learn more there.
Great. We actually have a couple more questions.
And Pixability is hiring as well. So
if
you're if devs are interested in YouTube, absolutely.
Great. Well, we have a couple more questions that we'll fly through, and then we'll close it out. So, how do captions provided in English on YouTube videos, for example, in French, affect SEO?
So captions are definitely something very important for SEO, and if you can upload multiple language versions, that's definitely helpful. We typically recommend, if you're really going with a multilingual strategy, it typically makes sense to separate out your channels by language group, simply because then you can really optimize playlists and all the metadata around the channel, even the channel design for the specific market. But uploading captions is a very good idea. That really helps.
Great. And then our last one that we have time for, and this I think is more general, how much of a shakeup will things like Hangouts on Air cause in the brands or in YouTube channels?
In the sense that brands will use that, or?
I guess maybe the question is a different type of video engagement is an interactive experience, right? Rather than video on demand. Do you see brands adopting that, or you get approached about, how should people use that as yet another way to connect with the customers?
Occasionally people ask us about how do I do a live show like this one here. So that's definitely something that people start discovering a little bit. But I think it's still a few years away at this point, because most companies still are struggling with developing their video strategy in the first place, just for standard video content. So I think it's attractive, especially if you're in the B2B sector and we have to provide in-depth content, and it's a great format. And we have been using it at Pixability very successfully as well. So we have a monthly live webinar, which is actually airing right now in competition to this one, and this has been very successful for us. So I think that's definitely something that people should look into.
I see. Great. So maybe
actually,
I was wrong,
the question
Bettina.
came from Cheryl, locked from Las Vegas, who's a loyal viewer of the Pixability webinar. So hi,
great.
Cheryl.
Thanks for joining. So maybe I was wrong. Maybe the next gig is not ESP, it's live. So it's audio, video, live video, and then ESP. All right. I think this is all we have time for today. So thank you very much for visiting our studio. Have fun on the West Coast, and a safe trip back to Boston. And Jeremy, as always, a pleasure.
Yes, thank you.
And I guess we'll talk to you next week, Wednesday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Bye.
Bye.